Hey Sew Friends, welcome back to Sew Easy with Shelby and Gabby. I'm your host, Kate Stewart. If you haven't done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there at the bottom. Hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the videos that I'm going to be posting for you each week. I will have a new video for you each week. Today we're going to be doing a puffer coat. I love a nice puffer coat, and I have a few in my closet. I also have a few vests in my closet. But I wanted to do a coat, and I wanted to do one in my favorite color. I realized that I do not have a coat in my favorite color, so I wanted to make one. So first thing you want to do is we're going to use pattern Butterick 6762, and I'm doing this view right here, view B, which is the jacket. So absolutely you need this pattern. We're also going to need some material. I found this material inside of Joann's fabric. It is a purple sportswear outerwear. I love the color. Oh my god. If you all know me, you know that purple is my favorite color, but I really love this material. So this is what I'm going to be using for my outside. I'm also going to use, you got to have lining, of course. So this is my material that I'm using for my lining. It's like a funky, flowery something or whatever, but it has like a few purples here and there. But I thought that this would be a really good contrast to the inside of my coat. So this is what I'm using for my lining. You want to get a separating zipper. I have a 24-inch separating zipper that I'm going to be using for this coat. You also want to get some batting. So I am using this brand right here, Polyfield Extra Loft Quilt Batting. And this is actually some that I've left over from the first coat that I did, which we'll talk about after a while. But anywho, so this is some batting. You want to get some batting because you're going to need that for the inside of your coat. You know my motto, grab your material, grab your scissors, and let's begin. First thing you want to do is you want to cut out your pattern pieces. For this material, for this pattern, we're only using pieces 1, 2, and 3. Don't you love when you get a pattern and it only has 1, 2, or 3 pieces? So you're going to use piece number 3, which is your sleeve. You're going to cut out 2 of these in the material and 2 of these in your your lining. You're also going to do piece number 2, which is your back. Now, I have mine folded in half because I'm going to cut mine on the fold. If you don't cut it on the fold, then you can just open it up and cut 1 piece of fabric and 1 piece of lining. You're also going to do piece number 1, which is your 2 front pieces. You're going to do 2 in material and 2 in the lining. Now, I made this jacket before, and I've learned some things about making the jacket. Once I made the jacket the first time, I used the same pattern. I put the batting inside, and once I finished putting the jacket together, the jacket was too small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up 1 size on my jacket. Now, there's also in this, you can also use this same pattern to make a vest, which I've done plenty of times. I also did this, and I made the pattern, and I did also another vest with the batting on the inside, this one right here. But what I learned is you only need to go up a size when you're doing a jacket. When you're doing the vest, you do not need to go up a size because there's no sleeves, so you don't have all that extra bulk that you need for the coat. So I learned this way doing this vest, which I love, with the same pattern, same zipper, that you do not need to add any of the extra. You don't need to go up a size for this one. I also altered the pattern because I made pockets for this. The pattern that you have do not have pockets, but I'm going to show you how we're going to add pockets because we are adding pockets to my new purple puff coat that I'm going to be making, because sometimes I don't always want to have my cell phone in my hand. I want to throw it in my pocket, or want to put my hands in my pocket. So we're going to add pockets to this as well. I'm still debating on whether I'm going to put a hood on there or not. I don't think I want to do a hood, so I'm not going to do a hood on this one, but I am going to add pockets. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So go ahead and get all of your pieces cut out, and I'm going to show you the next step. Okay, thanks for coming back. Now, what I wanted to show you, because I know I said you want to make the pattern go up maybe a size, and I don't know for everyone else, but for me, I already have my patterns that I use for myself primarily cut out for my size. So I'm going to show you what I mean when I say we're going to go up a little bit. So here's my back piece. Now what I'm going to do is the same thing that we do normally for your regular piece, we're going to do the same thing when we make the pattern a little bigger. So I'm going to slide this back a little bit so you can see. So on the top part, I'm going to add an inch here. And I'm just going to take my chalking pen and I'm just going to draw it the same way the pattern is. So I'm actually mimicking the pattern. I'm just going to make it a little bigger. So now instead of me cutting here where I normally would cut, I'm going to be cutting up here. I'm going to do the same thing all the way around. That way, like I said, that way I can add in for the amount that I'm going to be using for the puff jacket. Same thing on the inner sleeve. We're going to go down, we'll follow it around with your chalk pencil. When you get there where it starts curving, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to curve it. And I'm just using my pencil. And I'm chalking. And then I'm going to go out an inch as well over here. Just like that. And I'm connecting those two. You want to make sure that you go ahead and you make sure you remember where your notches are. So you want to go ahead and add those notches in the same place. Wherever you have a notch on your pattern, you want to make sure you still have it. So I'm adding it there. And you're going to do the same thing up here. So now, and I'm also making my jacket longer. So as you can see, the pattern was there. And I would normally cut it here. But actually, I'm going to go all the way to the bottom of the jacket because I want it to be a little longer than this one is. This is actually kind of like a short. It ends right at your waist. I want it to go down a little further than my waist. So I'm going to extend it down at the bottom. I've added an inch up here to account for the puff that I'm going to be adding. And again, this is my back piece. So you only need to cut one of these. I'm cutting mine on the fold. Or you can open it up and cut it one piece. And you also need to do one piece of this in your lining. And the same thing that you do for your lining, your material, you want to do the same thing for your lining. So this, I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. And you're going to grab your sleeve. Now remember, when you're doing a puff coat, your sleeve is going to be the one that gets the most, needs the most seam allowance because most of your puff is going to be in this coat. So because you're using 2 layers on each of your sides and your back, they have room to kind of distribute it. This one, you're going to have 2 layers, but remember, it's going to come together like this. So you're going to really end up like folding those 2 layers together and almost feel like you have 4 layers. So we're going to do the same thing on our sleeve. We're going to give our seam some allowance. And I'm just going to go 1 inch around the whole thing so that I have my sleeve is going to be 1 inch larger than normal. So again, I'm just going up a size. So if you're a size 6, you want to do a size 8 if you're going to do a puff coat. If you're a size 6, you want to go up to a size 8. If you're an 8, you want to go up to a 10. If you're a 10, you want to go up to a 12. And for instance, like that. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just allowing the seam allowance for this to do the same thing. Now, y'all know me. I like to save material as much as you can. Let me grab some pattern weights real fast. a good tip is, if you want to make sure that your lining pieces and your pattern pieces are matching up, I'm actually using my fabric to cut out my lining pieces. Now, I know you're probably looking at the sleeve like, why does she have it sideways? But I have a 4-way stretch with my lining material, so I'm able to do that. If you do not have a 4-way stretch, and if it only stretches one way, you want to make sure that you turn your sleeve the way that it's stretched, because you want to make sure that when it folds over like this, that you have enough stretch on the inside of your sleeve so that it can give. But this is the way I'm going to do it. This is another good way. Then you don't have to worry about your pattern pieces being off a little bit or not matching. Okay, once you take your batting out of the bag, like I'm going to do here, you want to figure out how thick you want to have your jacket. So I told you this one, because I've learned from the last time, I'm not going to make it as thick. I'm only going to use 2 layers on each of my pieces. So I'm going to roll this out like this. And this is 2 pieces right here. So you want to grab your material. I'm going to grab my piece. I'm just going to grab one. And you're going to lay it on the batting. Just like that. Now making sure it's nice and flat. So now I see how much puffiness is going to be with 2 pieces of batting. And for me, I think I'm going to go with 3 pieces. 2 pieces is kind of light. 2 pieces is light, so I'm going to do 3 pieces. So I'm going to grab my batting and I'm going to roll it out like this. I'm going to roll it out. So when you roll it out, it's already in 2 pieces. Thinking, do I want 2? That's actually 2. I'm going to stay with 2. I'm going to stay with 2 pieces, y'all. I know. I go back and forth. Don't worry about me. It's okay. So, like I said, I've used this batting before. And I'm going to get my piece out. So, remember your front has 2 pieces. So, I should need, I'm going to have to cut this out twice. So, I'm going to put it on the edge of the batting. Like that. You can all see. know, you've seen most puffer jackets, they have some type of pattern with them, right? Now, I want my jacket to have a pattern with it as well. So we're going to turn it like this. And I actually just want mine to be kind of just straight. I don't want anything too fancy this time. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it on my sleeves. And then you can do the rest of your pieces the same way. So we're going to get our ruler. I'm actually getting my yardstick because I'm going to be doing two at the same time. I'm going to get your yardstick. And you want to get a marker. I'm going to be actually using a real marker and not just a water-soluble marker. You can take one of your chalks or your paper marks or whatever you want to do. But this is why I'm using both of them at the same time on this. I'm trying to scoot back so that you can see. Now, we want to make sure that our marks are the same and they're in the same places on both of our jackets. Because what you're going to do is you're going to create those pleats and things in your jacket that you normally see on a puff coat. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to go to your sewing machine and you're going to sew it. So we're going to make the pattern that we're using. So again, I'm just doing this one. It's just going to be going straight across. I'm not doing any zigzags today or any checkers. And I have them both lined up in the same place so that the lines are going the same place on the... And I'm actually using this pencil here that has... It's a soft pencil, but I'm not worried about it because it's on the inside. And I'm just going to make a line go straight across. I'm going to do the same thing up here. And they're in the same place. That way when my jacket is on me, my lines, my pleats will be in the same direction. And you can do as many or as little as you want to. I'm just actually following the lines here on my cutting mat. And I'm doing them about 3 inches apart. And I'm going now into the regular jacket. And again, I'm just staying on line. And I'm going straight across. And you can do the same thing on yours. It's on 16. And because I have numbers on mine, it's kind of good. 20, 19, 16 is here. About 30 more inches. Same thing for here. And again, I just do it like this way because, again, I want my sleeves to look the same. I don't want you to look at one sleeve and be like, why is that line so far up? And the other one is not. So this is a way to keep them nice and even. And I do them and I'm going to show you the front and the back as well. I do them all at the same time. Here's another tip. I've already done the back of my jacket with the lines. Now, again, this is a puff jacket. You don't want to look like you don't know what you're doing or that it's handmade. So the way that we want to keep the lines uniform going across the jacket is, once you've got the lines on your back, what I did was I've added the front to the back using the armhole. And I'm just using my ruler and I'm just taking those same lines that I've done over here. And I'm making the straight line go straight across this way. That way, you don't have to worry about your jacket not looking uniform. that your lines are crooked. It's not going to be the way. So we're just going to use that line that we're using. And we're going to make our lines on the front of our jacket. And that way, again, it's nice and uniform. You don't have to worry about your jacket being put together and your lines are off. Or people are looking at you like, wow, that's a nice puff jacket, but why does her front look like that? Because it's not supposed to look that way. So that's another tip. Take your back of your jacket, add it together at the sleeve, just like that way, and use the same lines that you did on the back for the fronts of your jacket. Put your material like this on top of your batting, wrong sides facing. Just like this. And you're going to sew directly across those lines. And you're going to sew your batting to your material. Okay, I'll tell you one more time. You're going to take the lines that you just created on your material. I'm going to get closer so you can see the lines. So these are the lines I just created on my material. I'm going to move the camera so you can get a better visual. Here we go. So these are the lines I just created. So there's one, another 3 inches up, there's another one. You're going to add your batting to your material, just like I've just done this one. You're going to go over to your sewing machine and you're going to sew your batting to your material. You're using those lines. So you're going to go across, take your sewing machine, you're going to go straight across this line. Just like that. You're going to go across each one and you're going to do that for each one of your fabrics with your batting. So you're going to come, when you come back to me, we're going to have 2 sleeves and the batting is going to have the lines going across. You're going to have one front and one back. Oops, sorry. You're going to have, sorry about that. Oops. You're going to, so when you come back to me, you're going to have, your material is going to be sewn onto your batting and by these lines. Again, you're going to go to your sewing machine. You're just going to go straight across these lines and add your batting to your material. Once you've done that and I have all my pieces attached to my batting, I'm going to come back and show you the next step. Welcome back. Okay, so right now you should have all of your pieces, your material, attached to your batting. And it should look like this. So you can see where I went through and I sewn. And it's giving you those little pleats that you're going to need. That'll show up even more later. Again, so my pieces are attached to my batting. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take, and everything that we do to our material, we're also going to do to our lining. Sorry about that. Everything that we do to our material, we're also going to do to our lining. So you want to go ahead and grab all of your pieces. Grabbing pieces. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our back piece, as you can see, and we're going to do it right sides facing each other. And you're going to attach it. You're going to find those little notches that you cut out earlier, and we're going to attach them at the shoulders. And again, you're doing this right sides facing, and you're going to pin them together. Grab my pins. You all know my motto. Anywhere we pin, we're going to be doing some sewing. So you're going to attach those two to the front at the notches, and you want to make sure you match your notches up. Cooperate. Okay, there we go. So you want to make sure that you're matching up your notches together, and you're going to pin them at the shoulders. You can also fold, you can also pin at the sides as well. Make sure you're matching your notches. And you're going to pin it together like that on both sides. And one thing I love about making your own thing, remember when I told you I was just going to have my pieces go straight across as far as the way I was going to have the pleats show up on my jacket. Well, once I did it, I didn't really care for it. So I went ahead and added a few more lines to my pattern. So it ended up being like a waffle print. I'll show you, instead of just going straight across. You can see I just added some more lines to it instead of it being straight across. So you're going to take this over to your machine and you're going to sew straight across the shoulders and down the sides. You want to do the same thing for your lining material. So you can grab your lining material out, open up your back piece like this, right sides facing, and you're going to attach the front pieces at the notches, at the shoulders, and at the sides. And you're going to sew them down as well. Once you've done that, I'm going to come back and I'll show you the next step, when we're going to start to take care of our sleeves. So again, just pin that at the shoulders and at the side seams. Take it over to your machine. You're going to go straight across there and straight down the side seams. Come back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so right now your pieces should be looking like this. You should have your shoulders and your side seams sewn together. And this is what it's looking like on the outside of your coat. This is what it's looking like so far. Then you should also have your lining pieces. Now, your lining pieces should be sewn together at the sides and at the shoulders as well. Now, what I did do is, on one of my sides, I left a little hole. I left a hole about a handful. The reason we're going to do that is because once we've added our sleeves to our jacket and our sleeves to our lining, and you insert the two together and you put them together, you want to make sure that your sleeve has a nice clean finish on the inside. So this is why we have this little opening here. So I apologize that I didn't tell you to do that before I told you to sew the pieces together. So if you've done that, create a little hole on the side of your lining, about a handful, so that you can pull it through. And I'll show you why in a second. So that's what we're going to do. Next thing we're doing is sleeves. So you want to get out your sleeves, your lining pieces, so I have the lining pieces like this, and you're going to take them just like you would do a normal sleeve. We're going to fold them facing each other. Going to put a little pin, find your notches like that. Grab your pins and you're going to pin it, because when we pin it, that means we're going to be doing some sewing. So you're going to pin it all the way down to the bottom. Just like that on both pieces. Grab this one. Put your lining. Find your notches. Line them up. Put a pin. Put a pin down at the bottom. You can do one at the top. So, same thing for your jacket sleeves. You want to grab your sleeves out, because your sleeves are looking like this with the batting attached to it. You're going to flip it over. You're going to find your notches. There's my notches. And we're going to pin at the notches. And we'll put a little pin at the bottom. Same thing with this one. Right sides facing. Find your notches. Match them up. Put a pin. Pin at the bottom. And you can also put a pin at the top. Pin at the top. You're going to go over to your machine. You're going to sew from the top of the seam to the bottom. Once we've done that, come back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, we're almost done, y'all. We're getting down to the final stretch. So here we go. So this is what you should be looking like right now. You just finished sewing your sleeves. So you should have two of these like this. And you also have your sleeves for your lining. which is my lining. We're going to attach our sleeves to our jacket and to the lining. So you're going to do like you would normally do. We're going to find the notches. This is why you have these notches. There's a double notch on one side, and then there's a single notch on the other side. That'll let you know if you are supposed to be in the front or the back of your jacket. Grab your pins. Now what I do is I take my jacket like this, and I'm using my double right now, and I'm going to turn it inside out. Turn it inside out on my body double. I'm going to take my sleeve, and I'm going to find those notches in here. There's my notches right there. I'm going to take my sleeve, and I'm actually going to put it inside of the sleeve hole just like this. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get your side seams. You want to make sure that these two seams are matching, because you don't want to lift up your arm and then you have one seam going on this way and one going the other way. So take your pins and start pinning it. You're pinning them right side spacing. You're going to do the same thing. Find your notches. There's my notch right there, and there's the other one. And you're going to pin it together. Just like this. And you're going to do the same thing on this side. Find your notch or notches. And you're going to put them together like that. And you're going to pin it down. And you're going to do that. Go up to the top. And what I like to do is I just go ahead and fit my sleeve right into fit my sleeve right into the hole. So if you take your finger and you press it up like this way, it will give you the top of your seam. It'll give you the top of your sleeve where you should meet your seam. Take a pin and pin it. And then these pieces are going to stretch out, and you're going to pin them together. Just like that. I'm going to show you how I do it again on the other side, just so you'll be sure what you're doing. So now this sleeve is pinned in place and ready for the sewing machine. Add one more pin right there. I think I lost my pin. Okay, so now your sleeve is pinned in place. I'm going to show you one more time. You want to have your jacket, as I have mine, on my double, inside out. You're going to take your sleeve and you're going to put it right down into the sleeve hole. You're going to find your two seams right there and right there, and you're going to make sure that they're matching up. Again, you don't want to lift up your arm and your seams are not matching. Grab a pin, stick it inside. Just like that. Gonna do the same thing, find your notches. There's my notches right there. I'll put the two notches together like that. I'll find a pin and stick it inside. Same thing on this side. Grab your notches. Put it on the inside. Take your pin. Put it first. Now, again, for the top of the cap, the sleeve cap, what I do is I just kind of grab it and stretch it out. Once you do that, that's going to show you where the top of your sleeve needs to match the seam on your shoulder. So you grab a pin and pin it together. Then you're going to just kind of straighten these out here so that it fits in. And we're going to take a pin, stick it inside. Same thing over there. Stretch it out like that. Make sure your pieces are matching. I'll take a pin, stick it on in. Now your sleeves are in place. You want to go over to you're going to do the same thing for your lining. And then we're going to go back to our machine and we're going to sew all the way around this circle on both sides, on your jacket and the lining. And then there'll be a few more steps and I'll show you what's next. Okay, so now we're going to add our zipper in between our lining and our jacket. So right now, this is your jacket. You got your sleeve on, everything is looking good. Your lining is looking the exact same way. So now we're going to go ahead and add the zipper on here. Now, you want to take your zipper. I've already undone mine. You don't have to. This is just what I do because it makes it easier for me to remember. So, take your zipper like this. And you're going to flip it over. So you're going to have the right side of your zipper facing the right side of your coat. And we're going to start on one side. Now what I do love is because as you can see, my lines are lining up absolutely the same. If you did it the way I showed you, then your lines should be parallel to one another. So I'm going to take my zipper, working on, and I'm going to leave a little bit. I'm going to leave about ½ inch from the bottom, because what's going to happen is once you have the zipper on and it flips under like this, once you've attached your zipper and it flips under, there's also going to be another little fold under piece when you put the lining and the material together, where it's going to go like this. So you want your jacket, you want the end of your jacket to look like this. You want it to be nice and even across the bottom with your zipper tape and your zipper stop. So we're going to leave a little room at the bottom so that we can achieve that. And again, we're going to leave about ½ inch. So this is when you might want to grab your seam gauge. Take your seam gauge and you want to go to ½ inch right there. I'm going to go to ½ inch, and actually I'm going to do a little bit more than ½ inch. I'm going to do 1/4 inch. 3/4 inch, I'm sorry. You want to take your cord and you're going to put it, and I'm going to stick a pin right there so that I know that this is where I want my zipper to stop. This is where my end of my tape should be, right there. And that's going to give me enough room to do this so that it'll be a nice clean edge across the side. We're going to do the same thing for the other side. Take your seam gauge at the bottom. We're going to grab a pin, and we're going to put a pin right there so that we know this is where our zipper should end. So I'm going to undo my zipper, and I'm going to work with the side with the zipper on it, and I'm going to go all the way to the top. My zipper, of course, is longer than my jacket, and I did that on purpose so that we could move the zipper out of the way while we're sewing and working with it. So you're going to put this right sides down, and we're going to find that tape, and we're going to end right there at that needle, at the pin. And we're going to find some pins, and we're going to pin this down, because we're going to go over to our machine and we're going to pin this in place. Give it a good little stretch to it so it's nice and flat. I'm going to go all the way up just like that. Just this way. All the way till you get to the top of your jacket. Because again, this is what we're going to, so what's happening is when you finally finish the jacket, it's going to be like this. So it's going to be between your material and your lining. That's what we want. So you want to make sure that you put your jacket, the zipper face down. You can do like I did, which is, to me, I think it's better because you can actually see it and you can play with it and see. I take my zipper, I undo it, I put it face down on the jacket, and then I pin it down. I also have my pin here so I know where I want my zipper to stop. Because again, once you've taken the lining and you've added together, it's going to fold that under. So now you have a nice clean finish just like that when you're done with your jacket. We're going to do the same thing with the other side. Grab the other face, grab the other side of your zipper. You want to get the bottom of your zipper And you're going to make sure it's face down. And you're going to find the end of that pin and the end of this one. And we're going to take a pin and stick it there. And you're going to zip this one in place too. Remember, add a little stretch to this. Because when you go over to your machine and you're sewing this down, it's going to give a little bit. So I always recommend start from the bottom of your zipper and work your way up. So again, here you go. Now you have the zipper on both sides facing down, so that when you put the lining in there, it's going to be just like this. So when you do it, they're lining up perfect. That way you don't have any gap in between your zipper. And another way to check it is you can do this. You can take your zipper and go down to the bottom and zip it up. And you'll be able to see that it's nice and it's right. And it's nice and even. So that's what you want to do. Now, again, we're going to go over to our machine. I'm going to move this zipper pull all the way up there so it's out of the way. And you have all your, it's pinned down nice and flat. We're going to go over to our machine. You're going to put on your zipper foot. And you're going to sew this zipper in place. And remember, you're going to start from the bottom of your zipper foot, zipper tape, and you're going to go all the way up to the top. And you're going to do that on both sides. And then we're going to add the lining. Okay, so right now you should have your zip jacket looking like this. I have the zipper sewn down onto my front of my jacket, on the front pieces. We're going to use my body double for right now. I'm going to use her because right now we're going to sandwich our jacket with our lining. So here's my lining piece. So you want to take the right side of your lining and you're going to attach it to the right side of your jacket. This is what we're going to do. Because what we're going to do is we're going to pin it. And I'm going to slide just a little bit so you can see. When I say we're going to sandwich, we're really going to sandwich it. You want to take your zipper down. We're going to move your zipper pull down. I just normally just put it in the middle because we're going to do some sewing. So this is what you have to do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to find our shoulder seams and we're going to line them up. Once we've lined them up, we're going to get a pin like this and we're going to pin it. Once you have that pin down, we're going to go around to the front and we're going to take the front of our lining and we're going to match it up with the front of our jacket and we're going to pin that down like that. And you're going to go all the way down the front and you're going to pin it in place. We're going to pin the whole lining to the jacket the same way. We'll go all the way down to the front. Pin it in place. You want to do the other side the same way. You want to find your shoulder seams and we're going to match them up. It's right there. And you're going to find a pin and pin it. You want to pin the back of the neck as well. Going to pin that like that. Take another pin. Right there, and put one right here as well. And you're going to go around to the front just like you did the last one. You want to grab the front of your lining and you're going to match it up with the front of your jacket. And we're going to put a pin right there. And then we're going to put a pin in the middle of those two pieces just so it stays in place. You're also going to go down the front of this jacket, the front of your jacket with the lining. And you want to see that your zipper is now sandwiched in between the two pieces. But once you turn it inside out, you'll see how that's going to work out. I'm going to just move this down here. I'm going to do it this way so you can see. Slide her out the way. And you want to do, take your not your shoulders, take your sleeves and tuck them inside and go all the way down to the bottom of the jacket. Just like that. And you're going to match them up. The same way we did up top. And if it's a little longer, don't worry about it. Like mine is a little longer, it's okay. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is, because I want to know that this is where my zipper is ending, so I'm going to take this pin and I'm going to turn it this way. That way I know that my zipper pull stops right there at that pin. And we're going to go all the way around the bottom of the jacket as well. Make sure you throw your sleeves on the inside so they don't get caught when you're sewing. Find your side seams and match them up together like that. See, my two side seams are together because you want your seams to match. And we're going to put a pin. And you're just going to match it all the way around. Take your pins. Be generous with your pins. Don't worry about feeling like you're pinning too much. You're never pinning too much. You always want to make sure your stuff stays in place. You want to find the other side seam, and we're going to line them up just like that. Get a pin, stick it on the inside like that, and continue to pin this close. And again, we're going to go to our machine, and we're going to sew everywhere there's a pin. We're going to sew it down. Make sure you get to the bottom here. You want to feel for where your zipper pull is, which is right here. So I'm going to take my pin and I'm going to face it this way. That way I know when I'm sewing that this is the end of my zipper pull. And I'm going to pin this down as well. So now that this is all pinned, go over to your machine again, and be careful because you do have a zipper there with zipper teeth. So go and you want to sew all the way down the edges, all the way around to the jacket. Okay, so your jacket should look something like this now. You should have all of the edges sewn together all the way around. So remember that little hole I was telling you about earlier? And I said, let's leave that little hole open. So the first thing we want to do is we want to cut off the top of these zipper pieces that we don't need. I'm going to cut those off. I'm going to cut into my corners a little bit, like that. And I'm also going to do the bottom, because I have a little bit of some extra here. So I'm just cut all this excess off. I'll do it on this side too. Like I said, I'm just trimming off these little extra pieces that we won't be needing. Okay. Okay, so you're going to turn over to your side where you have your lining showing, and we're going to find that little hole, and we're going to pop everything through this hole. Bring everything through. There's one sleeve. I'll flip it over and just pull everything out. There's another sleeve. Pull it all out. Everything is coming out. do like I do and get confused. And I'm doing this close up so you can really see what I'm doing. I'm basically pulling everything through that little hole that I created earlier. There's another sleeve right there. Put that one through. Now, your jacket is now starting to look like a jacket. Your lining is on the inside. You have your sleeve, so you're going to just take your hand and put this in your hand and go through your sleeve and just grab it. Just go in there and grab it right through. Like that. And we're going to pull this sleeve all the way through. Like that. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that in a second. Do the same thing on the other side. Put your hand through your sleeve and grab that lining and just pull it through like that. And as you're situating and getting everything together, you want to go and grab all your corners and stuff out. Like at the top. Just kind of pulling that through there like that. Same thing over here. Get all your corners out. Same thing for the bottom. Get your corners. Pull out your zipper stops and pulls. Just like that. Let me grab my little double. Grab her. Move it up here a little bit so you can see. Like that. We're going to just throw this jacket on her real quick. Because this is what your jacket is looking like now. Wonderful. So we need to fix this. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to pull this. What we're going to do is we're going to take that little hole that we left inside of our jacket. As you can see, the bottom of the jacket is nice and neat. Everything is done. I'm going to do the same thing that I'm doing on the top, on across the bottom. I'm just going to make a top stitch across the bottom so that you don't see my lining. But let me show you what we're going to do for these sleeves. So you're going to go into that little hole that we had. And you're going to go in between your jacket and the lining. So here's my hand. Here's the lining, here's the jacket. We're going to make a nice clean finish here between this jacket and this lining. So we're going to fold this under like this. You're going to fold your jacket under, and then we're going to fold our lining under, and we're going to meet at the seams. Remember, we're always meeting at the seams. And I'm going to take a little pin and I'm going to stick it right there like that, and I'm gonna go over just a little bit more like that, and I'm gonna just add another little pin right there. Now you're gonna take your hand and go back through that hole, and you're gonna go in between, just like we just did a few minutes ago, in between the lining and the jacket. So on the other side, you can see my hand, you can see the lining, and you can see the jacket. But we're going to go here where we pin those two pieces together. And I'm going to grab them on the inside. I'm going to grab those two pieces that we put underneath. And I'm going to hold it just like this. And I'm going to pull it through this hole. I'm going to pull the both of them back through this hole. So this is what you should be seeing. Okay, so this is what your jacket is looking like once you pulled it through the center. I mean through that little hole. So what we're going to do is we're going to now take, because it's pinned, so it's holding in place, we're going to do this. We're going to take the edge of our lining right there, and we're going to meet it with the edge of our jacket like this, and we're going to put a pin in it. And you're going to go all the way around and do that. So you're going to put the lining on the inside, and it's going to meet the edge of the lining of your jacket. Just like that. All the way around. And you see I haven't removed those pins yet because you don't want it to jump out of place. We'll remove the pins when we get around to that side. Again, I have the edge of the jacket and the edge of the lining. Gonna sew it down. Pin it down like that. Now that we're here, we can get rid of those pins on the inside. So I'm gonna just reach my hand in there like this. I'm gonna just reach my hand in there and remove that pin. So now that one is free. And I'm also going to remove the pin on this side. So that it's free. Then you're going to continue to go around like that. Just like that. And then that way, once you've sewn this around, when you pull it through, it's going to be a nice clean finish. Now let me show you how I did that again. I know that was kind of rough, right? Here we go. Show you one more time. You want to take your sleeve, the other sleeve now, which is this one, and you have your lining and you have your jacket. So we want those two to be nice and neat on the inside. So you're going to find your seam of your lining and you're going to find the seam of your jacket, and we're going to fold them both down like this. Fold them down. And you're going to take a pin and we're going to stick a pin inside like that. And I always do a little bit more just to make sure I have enough room to catch. So fold them down like that. Take your pin, stick it inside like that. Okay, now we're going back through that hole that we created earlier, and you're going to go over now to this sleeve. So now I'm in the sleeve. See, my fingers are in the sleeve. I'm in between the seam. I'm in between the lining and the material. So there's my hand. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to grab these two pieces that I pinned down earlier on the inside of the jacket. Just like this. So now my hand, you can see my fingers. My fingers are holding that excess material right there. So I'm going to grab that with my fingers and I'm going to pull the whole thing. Hold on to it tight. I'm going to pull that whole thing through the hole. And now it looks like this. And now it looks like this. So now I see both pieces that are pinned down, that's not moving because it's pinned. These are my two raw edges. And I'm just going to continue to go around that way, the same way. So I'm going to lift out my jacket straight. I'm going to take my lining and I'm going to start going inside with the raw edges like this, meeting each other. And I'm going to take a pin and I'm going to stick the pin inside. And I'm going to go all the way around the sleeve the same way. You're going to lay that on inside and you're meeting the two pieces together. This is what we're going to go to the sewing machine and sew. Take it, pin it down. Turn the jacket. We're going to take our hands, see that? And we're mixing those raw edges together. And we're going to put a pin in it. Now, we're back over here where we have the original pins. So you're going to take your finger inside. I normally pin this way. So I'm going to take my fingers on the inside of this jacket and I'm going to grab the top of that pin and move it out the way. And then I'm going to grab the other one. Grab that one, same way. And I'm going to keep going around. Make sure your seams are matching again, like that. Gonna pin it back down. And you're gonna pin all the way around. Just like that. All the way around. Now I'm gonna go to my sewing machine and I'm gonna sew across both of those sleeve caps like that. I'm also going to do the top stitching of my jacket because I told you I don't really want my lining to be showing. And I'm going to also do it on the bottom of my jacket as well. Now that your sleeves are all sewn, they should look like this on the inside. A nice clean finish. And you don't have to slip stitch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, because I don't want my lining to show on the outside, I'm just going to use that seam that I already have here and go through and give it a final stitch across the sleeves like I've done at the top and at the bottom as well. Because like I said, I don't want to have my jacket on and you can see the lining. Even though the lining is very, very cute and that's why I picked it, I just want people to see it when I open up my jacket like this. And we're all done. I hope this tutorial was so easy with Shelby and Gabby. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Again, if you need to reach me, you can reach me at kcharlescouture@gmail.com. You can also reach me on IG at kcharlescouture. I am also on Facebook in a Facebook group, K Charles Couture. I look forward to seeing you all soon. See you again next week.